Alright guys, welcome back to some more Farming Simulator 17. That is right. Today we are going to harvest the trees that we planted in, I believe it was episode 20. As you can see, they are fully grown, and you can tell because, and I mentioned this in a recent episode, I can't remember which one, that when they're fully grown, the branches with leaves start significantly higher up the tree. So as you can see, about 1/3 of the tree currently has got either no branches, or the branches that are there have not got, I guess they aren't leaves, are they? But they're whatever the like pine or fir trees have. So yeah, we're going to be chopping these down today and selling them. Obviously, we bought field 10 because it was right next to the lumber mill. Something else I did in between episodes is I bought 30 more sheep and 30 more cows. As you can see, we've got 68 sheep, 61 cows. I'm currently still figuring out the cow feed, which is why it looks like this. I'm just letting it run down on these ones, just to see when I refill their food with total mixed ration, do we get grass as well? Because it could be that we do actually need separate grass. It's really not very clear here, especially with the way the total mixed ration is made. Because silage and hay here is one stat, and silage and hay are part of total mixed ration, yet there's also a separate bar here for total mixed ration, so I have no idea how it works. Which again is why I'm just letting it run down, so that we can have a blank slate to work with and see how it works. So, as you can see, we've got the Valtra over here, we've got our trailer, we've got the stump cutter and the planter. Something I'm hoping to do later in the episode when it comes to replanting is I've actually got another mod to try out. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that will come later. So what I think we're gonna do with this is I'd like to position the trailer in a convenient spot, right? Because currently it's all the way off to the side here. That could work. Probably just gonna be some trial and error as I go here. But yeah, let's just start with this one, the first one. That should be going the right way. Perfect. And of course we still have the measure mod, so Alt and right click, that puts our measure point down. And then about 12 meters, we do a cut. Keep going. And then the next one will be about 24. And like so, and then we just cut the end off. Now, it's kind of the wrong way, because the heavy end of the tree is towards the back of the trailer, and I prefer it being towards the front of the trailer. We can figure that out as we go. Perhaps if we put the trailer pointing that way, we can actually drive it in between the trees, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Because if we chop a tree over and it lands in between the like the prongs of the trailer, then we've got some issues. Come on. Come on. I don't know why they get stuck like that. There we go. Nope. Come on. There you go. They do like to sort of stick themselves to the fork. What would be a lot better way of doing this would be to buy or rent the actual tree harvester machine. Now, obviously, I'm not going to keep all of this in the video. This will take forever. But I did just want to let you guys know this is what we're doing today, because it's a pretty major job, right? It's been in the works for some episodes now, so made sense to make a pretty big deal out of it. And then this little twig, or comparatively it's a twig, right? And get, come on. Come on. There we go. But yeah, this is what I'm gonna be doing for the next however long I'll be playing on real time, so you guys will be able to see how long it takes. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, I am back. This actually took a lot less long than I thought it would to put this many trees in the trailer. It's also a lot less trees than I thought would fit the trailer. We've still got basically the whole forest left here. This was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 7 trees, okay. We planted like... how many was it? 140? I think? So this will take a while in total, but each trailer at least I know isn't too bad, although you can see I've been driving around a bit on the field. Something else I did just want to mention because I forgot to say when I started the recording. I'm actually using a different recording setup at the moment. If the video quality is different or worse in any way, hopefully it shouldn't be, but just to let you guys know, that is a thing. I'm hoping that it will be just as good, if not better, than before. And the audio may be a little different as well, because I've got the game audio a lot higher, because I realized I can just turn it down in the edit if I want it to be lower. Which just makes it a bit more enjoyable to play for me, for the game audio to be a bit higher. So, yeah, with those things out of the way, let's go ahead and sell the first load. Even the T-Series is struggling a little to pull this, which is indeed a thing. If we go to finances, you can see that sold wood is currently at 0 for today, so we will get the entire forest, like, as like a one single stat. I still can never remember exactly how much it is per trailer. It was something like 36, 46k, if I remember right. One of the two. Per trailer, so we could do some crude maths to figure out how much we're likely to get. But yeah, let's just go ahead and reverse this. This trailer is a nightmare as always. There we go. And then L. And there we go. 46k, okay. Good to know. I knew it was one of the two. Which means that if we've just put 7 trees in the trailer, and we planted 140, that means we're gonna have 20 trailer loads. Which means 20 times 46. Which means we're looking at over $900,000. Which is a little bit on the silly side. But I'm all for it. So, I guess now it is back to chopping down trees. Alright guys, I am back. And as you can see, I decided to do pretty much all of this off camera. And I'm glad I did, because it took forever. I've been playing on real time the whole time. It is almost midnight in-game. And this is actually a few days later. Because I decided I'm not going to do all of this in one go, because that would just be absurd. I did actually have to also bring the pickup over here, because the Valtra almost ran out of fuel. But yeah, this is the last trailer of logs. And we're gonna sell it, and we're gonna see how much money we made in total. We have made quite a bit, not as much as we thought. that we would, which is a bit odd, because the math should have worked out, but it didn't. So far, we are at 774. So we should be looking at about 800,000. I'm hoping we manage to surpass $1 million for the first time, because that'd be pretty cool. Sadly, I do not have OBS recording, like Steam overlay or whatever, so you won't see if I get the achievement. But if I do get it, I will edit it onto the video afterwards. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up being slightly short, because the trailer is a little bit on the empty side. We're missing like 1 or 2 trees there. Anyway, let's go ahead, undo the tension belts, reverse in as always, and of course we're a little bit on the short side, damn it. Well, that's frustrating. I'm curious though, how much we got per tree. So we're looking at $815,000 right now. So 815, and then we divide by 140. So almost $6,000 per tree. It's more like $5,800 per tree, which is pretty good going if you consider the fact that each tree cost $2 to plant. So at this point, we have a couple of options. We could chop down a few extra trees, because it's not like there are a lack of them around here. There's 2 here, and there's some at the end over here that we could grab. Even some on the opposite side of the railway here. Or we can just start the replanting process. The problem with that is I have to get rid of all of the stumps, which will also take forever. I do have the stump cutter over here. It won't take as long, because I can just drive along here, and then drive along here, and, you know, get them all that way. But there's also all these little annoying, like, cut-off bits that happens when you chop the tree down. So, yeah. I'm just not entirely sure, like, this process has been interesting because, as I've mentioned in episode 20, I've never done it before, right? I've never planted trees and harvested them like this. The thing is, it's such a long-winded process. You wait 10 days for the trees to grow, and then harvesting them takes another, like, half an in-game day. Who knows how long all the stump cutting would take, right, on top of that. Planting them also takes forever, although, like I said earlier, we have a mod to help with that. Bit of a dilemma as to whether we continue with this or not. The question is, of course, would something like the Scorpion King prove to be, like a game changer, right? If we were able to chop down the trees that much faster. We'd still be left with the stumps, though. We will consider, but for now, we have made $815,000 from the tree harvest, which is pretty cool. I mean, I wish I could scroll sideways on this menu to see what kind of profits we've made from wood on previous days, but I guess the game deletes all of the old finance reports for other days. There's no great demand for anything right now. What the field's doing. These ones are good to go. Oh, they're actually ready to harvest, okay. So what I'm gonna do, for now anyway, let me just check the grass. The grass isn't ready. So what I'm gonna do for now is I will get probably the time sped up and come back in the in-game morning. And what we'll do is we'll do some sunflower harvesting, because we didn't do that in the last one, we just did the corn. And we're gonna have basically every field ready to go, which will be awesome. So, yeah, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I am back. It is a little while later, and as you can see, I have gone ahead and removed basically all of the tree stumps. It took a little while because the tree stump remover is kind of buggy. It doesn't always work, and you sometimes sit there for ages waiting for it to actually remove the stumps. But I wanted to share a little trick I kind of experimented with and found out. When you're trying to remove these bits, which from what I can figure out is when you chop a tree down, right, with the chainsaw, it makes the one flat cut, and then at the far edge it creates like a diagonal cut. So if you imagine here, that was the flat cut, the top side, right, that was where the tree was. And then this bit underneath is diagonal cut at the edge. This usually like pings off somewhere and becomes a piece of wood, but in this case it's near enough to the ground that it's actually in the ground. So I can't pick it up, as you can see. But instead of trying to remove these pieces with the stump cutter, you can actually cut them with the chainsaw, as you can see. And that just removes them. And this is so much faster and easier than using the stump cutter. So I highly recommend doing that. Just for convenience, if nothing else. But yeah, field 10 is now clear. It has taken a while to do the whole process, but as I said, it was extremely profitable. Although you've got to remember that the $5.8 thousand per tree, you have to divide that by 10 to $580 for per tree per day, right? Because it took 10 days for them to grow. So that kind of puts it into perspective, really. But a couple of things that I've been doing. I decided to harvest these 3 fields because, well, I could get on with it, and we've still got these fields left to harvest that aren't even fully grown yet. But what I thought we could do, because if I go to animals, we have got 38,000 litres of liquid manure now, so we actually have enough to start doing slurry spreading, I think, which is something I've been talking about for a while, so why not to try? So let's go ahead and buy this one. Here we go. And of course we will head over to the cow farm, which is basically right next to the shop, and fill this thing up. Now then, I think the slurry one is this near one, it looks like it. Do we get a fill marker? No? Oh, we do, but it just doesn't show up in the bottom right. There we go. Hopefully that keeps filling. The reason why I have this here, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned earlier in the episode. I think I may have. I can't remember, or I don't know what editing I am or aren't going to do. Yeah, the reason why I've got some grass here is because I don't know if we're going to end up needing to fill this trough here with grass. Because I remember in some recent episode I was like, what the hell is this trough for? Right, because they have the main trough, like in the cow shed. This might be for the grass. Because we were talking about the animals, how they have grass as one stat here, silage and hay here, and total mixed ration doesn't actually contain grass. So we may need to actually give them grass, and I thought we could use this trough for that. How is this doing? Almost full, perfect. And there we go. Yeah, we are down to basically no manure, but that's fine. This is extremely heavy, but I'm sure the JCB can manage. And we will turn around and head back to the yard with this. This thing is actually a bit difficult to control with this. It's like made the front of the tractor really light, which makes absolutely no sense because the trailer's got so many wheels, and they're such big wheels. Well, we do have a weight back at the farm, so we can just stick that on there. Also, in case you don't know, the reason we're doing things in this order, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again because some people might not know. we do the slurry spreading before we cultivate, right? Because we're putting the manure on the field and then we're sort of digging it into the field. It's not a regular fertilizer that you'd put on the crops after they started growing. I think you might be able to do it before they start growing, like when they're planted, but not like the seedlings haven't sprouted yet. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I'm sure in game terms, you can do it whenever the hell you want, alright? But I'm talking like more realistic terms. You would not put manure on the growing crops. That just sounds awful, to be honest. Yeah, we can grab the weight and hook back up to the spreader, and then we'll start on field 12, seeing as I've got the cultivator over here. Makes sense too. Although it is slightly in the way, we will manage. It is one hell of a machine, that is for sure. And of course the best thing about this, that clips through apparently, the best thing about this is it is effectively free fertilizer. Obviously we had to buy the cows, right? And all the equipment to feed the cows and all of that. However, it is a byproduct from keeping cows. And it acts as fertilizer, which means we don't have to pay for the fertilizer directly, alright? So it's very good. Also, I've never, like, when you're using this equipment, it's never really in perspective, but seeing the cultivator back there, that's like the biggest the second biggest, or the biggest cultivator in the game, right? It's tiny compared to this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, at least it is a quick job, although at the same time it's looking like it uses so much slurry. Like that was like 25%, like a quarter of the tank for one pass. So it does not look very efficient, and like this was like all the slurry we had in the cow farm, right? We took all of it, nearly all of it. And that is being used up incredibly quickly. Like, this isn't even gonna last these 3 fields. And these are the fields you start the game with. And this is the biggest one. And we have no slurry left. So yeah, that is a little bit disappointing, not gonna lie. And that is that. Right. Okay. Alright guys, I am back. This is actually a few days later. And I've decided a couple of things. Firstly, we aren't going to be doing the sunflower harvesting on camera in this episode, because we've done a lot of harvesting in the series, both on and off camera. And we actually already have done sunflower harvesting earlier in the series, much earlier. It was a field job really early on. So yeah, I just don't think it's particularly worthwhile making a big deal out of it, because basically all regular crop harvesting is kind of the same, right? So that's going to be done off camera in between episodes. What we are going to do to finish off the episode is the tree replanting in field 10. And we're at the shop because at the start of the episode I mentioned that I have got a mod to help us with the tree replanting. And it's a bit unorthodox, but it seemed interesting, so I thought we'd give it a go. As you can see, I'm over here at the shop with the JCB and the tree planter that we already have. As you guys know, this thing goes incredibly slowly. I think it's 3 miles an hour. And it's got a really narrow working width, so it takes absolutely forever to plant trees. Firstly, as always, we are going to save the game, because that's what you should do before you make any financial decisions in the video game. Then, we head into the store. We head over to forestry equipment. We buy 2 more of the tree planters, like so. And then we scroll all the way to the end, and as you can see, here is the mod. Concrete not included. $3,000 for, as it says here, a coupling frame. For essentially 3 times the working width. Can't choose a color. And I believe the one we need is this one. If not, it's just too bad. I think this is too bright. I think this is too bright. In fact, I think all of the yellows, or rather none of them, match. So, yeah, I believe it's this one. Please be the correct one. It is the correct one. Good. So, yeah, as I say, this is just... I mean, I really don't know how this is gonna quite work. For many reasons. I mean, firstly, there's the reason of... it's just so wide that how on earth are we gonna get it down the road? Also, what is it gonna look like on the tool selection? Okay, that doesn't even make a noise when it attaches. Oh, it looks very odd in the tool selection. Okay. Okay, it looks like they are in sequence, though. Is that right? No, they're not. They're not in sequence at all. Look at that. Look at that order. So this is the first one. 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. Also... V? Right. The weight is the third problem. I don't know if we should get a front weight, or just let it sit on the rear wheels. We have plenty of money, we can just grab one. I'd like to get another of these ones, I think. Just because they look nice. These are the heaviest AGCO weights. Oh yeah, we definitely need a weight at the front. That isn't even really enough. Yeah, this thing, it basically just needs to sit over at field 10 and never move. What we should probably do is move all of these over one by one, but that's not something I'm going to do. So instead, just to make maximum efficiency out of this, I'm gonna grab 3 more pallets. Just so we can fill all of the planters up. I already have a trailer load of pallets back at field 10. So this definitely calls for putting a beacon on, I think. Because this is genuinely one of the most absurd things I've done in the video game. Yeah, the physics aren't very happy either. I'm just hoping that this means that the replanting won't take, like, all day. Oh, don't do that. The traffic doesn't understand that we are a menace to society. Do we have to turn them all on individually? We do. Gotcha. How is GPS gonna work with this? Okay. I think it does understand the working width that we are working with. Something that kind of concerns me is the fact that it's digging into the ground at all times. But hopefully that will not be too much of a problem. I will save again. And we are going to start here. We need to go G, B, 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 V. GPS is on. Turn the beacon off. And yeah, let's just see how this goes. So, the speed is the same, obviously, but because we're doing 3 at once, it's 3 times as fast, so it's effectively 9 miles an hour. So I'm going to lift here. What I really hope, and in fact I'm going to save again here, because the fact that they're still in the ground concerns me, even though it's lifted. And it's gonna plant them even though it's lifted. Because yeah, I'm going at 3 miles an hour right now, so what I should probably do, it'll take forever, but to turn them all off when I'm turning around, just in case. And yeah, let's start just at the edge of the field again, just in case it starts a little bit later. So B, 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 V. Okay. Right. So... wait, what? Okay, okay. My concerns were valid then. I'm glad I did that quick save, because if you notice what's happening, when we were turning initially, they were actually in the ground, and the way these machines seem to work is it's not... I don't know how to describe it, but it's like the distance between the saplings is what it counts as far as the interval of the saplings, right? So these things have been working while we were turning, but at different rates, because we were turning, right? This one will have been going fastest because it's on the outside, which is why this one has appeared first. So I do actually need to reload this, and whenever I get to each end, turn all of them off, turn around, and then start them up again. Which is a little bit annoying, but it's a small price to pay to make the process much faster. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for this episode. It has certainly been a profitable one. We made, what was it, $815,000 from the trees. We are replanting faster than ever, although in quite a janky manner, but such is the way of mods. So, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have made to go ahead and hit the like button. Comment if you wish. Subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you all in the next one. Talk to you all then.